A very warm welcome to Rwanda Television News with me, Gloria Mutesi. Starting us off tonight, Rwanda's Minister of Gender and Family Promotion has urged women to properly use the benefits of the 50 million the Women Speak project has to offer. The project was officially launched in Rwanda on Thursday, which coincided with the International Day of Rural Women. Sessionary has more.
Ariane Wamahoro has for the last 2 years been a clothes designer, choosing to transform traditional fabric into modern styles that can be worn to many different occasions.
When I started, my styles were not readily accepted because people thought this type of fabric can only be used for more traditional attire. They didn't believe it could be used for things like parties. But as you can see, this is what I'm wearing right now, and I'm presentable enough to go anywhere.
Ariane has been using the 50 Million Women Speak project that was set up to assist the economic and social empowerment of women across 38 African countries through the provision of a networking platform to access information on financial and non-financial services.
This is a good platform because it brings us together as Africans, and those 38 countries certainly bring a vast amount of experience to the project itself, with so many people bringing different cultures, designs, and so on.
Officially launched at the continental level in November last year at a ceremony that took place here in Rwanda, the project has now been adopted by Burundi, Tanzania, and Rwanda in this region, and the EAC Deputy Secretary General points out that even men can use it. The platform was established as a way of encouraging women to join and overcome the obstacles they have been facing. But that does not mean that a man cannot join it, because a woman in business is bound to work with men. Just like a man who has goods women may need cannot be prevented from selling them on the platform. That is how the project will continue supporting businesses that women play a role in. The project was officially launched in Rwanda on Thursday, which coincided with the International Day of Rural Women, and Rwandan officials have noted that much has been done to help women in rural areas to develop.
When
you come together and are more than one, you get to consolidate your efforts and develop faster. And this is being done in rural areas through associations. We are seeing women develop in rural areas, and the fact is, the more money they have, the more useful they are to their families and to their country.
Rwanda's government is also looking to address the technological limitations that may prevent women in rural areas from effectively using the platform.
The internet is not found in all areas, and even if it were, not everyone can afford it, which is why we're working with the ESC to ensure that even women with simple mobile phones can access it through things like SMS. I believe you heard that efforts to that end will be made, and we intend to succeed in that soon so that no woman is left behind when it comes to this opportunity.
The theme of this year's International Day of Rural Women is Building Rural Women's Resilience in the Wake of COVID-19.
One day after the Rwanda Utilities and Regulatory Authority announced new travel fares, there are mixed feelings from the public, with some saying the fares have been hiked even more than before the coronavirus pandemic hit. At the regional bus park of Nyabugogo, you will find various types of vehicles and people meeting to go to various destinations. On the first day of the new transport fares, commuters expressed concern that some have hiked prices, especially among vehicles operating in Kigali. It is while even those working in other provinces that had hiked prices have refunded the money to the passengers. On the part of the drivers of these vehicles, they believe there are places where prices have not changed and passengers are complaining about their services.
I'm going to Chimirongo from Nyabugogo. Before it was 383 and now we are paying 390 Rwandan francs. I came with Kivu Belt from Rubengera and I was charged 3,630, yet I was supposed to pay 2,820. It's the driver that called us to be refunded our 800 Rwandan francs.
On the part of the employees of the transport service companies who did not want to comment on these prices, they say they are still making improvements, including embracing technology.
We used to go for 517 and then to 750 Rwandan francs. Now they put it at 730. Passengers are not happy with it, which shows the economy is poor at the moment. And we don't know what they are basing on. If the fuel has increased or decreased, we don't know.
Rura says the cost of travel between the provinces was reduced by 4.9 Rwanda francs per kilometer per passenger, as it went from 30.8 Rwanda francs to 25.9 Rwanda francs per kilometer per passenger. Travel in Kigali city reduced by 2.6 Rwanda francs per kilometer per passenger, as it went from 31.5 Rwanda francs to 28.9 Rwanda francs per kilometer per passenger. Rura's Director General Lieutenant Colonel Patrick Nyirishema says these prices are to immediately be enforced, and those who do not comply are subject to penalties. Measures to fight the spread of the coronavirus pandemic had seen buses taking half the number of passengers they were taking before, leading to prices being hiked. In the recent cabinet meeting, it was decided that vehicles resume taking the required number of passengers, with 50% of them seated while others standing. The Rwanda Biomedical Center is the recipient of the inaugural Courage to Care Award from ICAP, a global health organization based at Columbia University Mailman School of Public Health. This award recognizes heroes on the front lines who have shown exemplary commitment to care and resilience in the COVID-19 response. This evening, Dr. Saben Sanzimana, the Director General of the Rwanda Biomedical Center, shed more light about this award. Well, first of all, congratulations are in order to the Rwanda Biomedical Center and the government of Rwanda in general. Could you tell us, what could you tell us about this award?
Well, first of all, I mean, this is a work done by so many people. Still, the work is not yet finished. But the recognition from University of Columbia, ICAP, that came to Rwanda Biomedical Center and to all frontliners, the entire government efforts in the fight against COVID-19 is a message that what the investment and the efforts and the resilience of the people of Rwanda is recognized and seen by people across the different angles of the world. And to us, it's not that we've done everything and it's time to relax, but it's more an encouragement. And this virus has shown how we are close to each other from countries. It started from a continent and now have reached the world. So the award is just a symbol that we are one world and this virus is our enemy. We have to fight all together, and the efforts of people in Rwanda being recognized is a good thing and is an encouragement to continue even better.
Absolutely. It being the inaugural award, Rwanda Biomedical Center being the inaugural recipient of this award, what's the criteria? What did they consider for Rwanda Biomedical Center to be the recipient?
Well, what we know so far is that all countries of the world have been actually nominating different people and institutions. So for us, we didn't even know until 2 days ago when this was announced. And we told one of the criteria were actually our response and statistics that are being shown different platforms from what has been done here in Rwanda, but also how public health measures were implemented. In addition, technology and how we've been adapting to what we learned from the science. Briefly, this is what has been announced this afternoon, and we're happy to have it, and we're very humbled and honored to be part of this fight. Of course, being a country and also being a team that we continue to do our best to fight this virus.
Certainly good news. And on that note, what does this mean for the COVID-19 response in the country?
It means that the virus is still here, and we have to continue to fight it until we reach a point where we don't have people who are getting it or who are dying from it. But we are far from there. I expect many more tools to fight this virus, including the vaccine that is expected, but it's not going to stop all we do to keep our country safe from this pandemic, and maybe future pandemics also that may affect us. So we didn't do that to get an award, but we do it because it's important and because we need to protect our people, but also protect others in other countries. It's not about actually frontiers of a country. It's not about a continent. It's something for the world. That's why this award from New York and to Rwanda with all these distances means that connection, that we are close to each other than we were before, and this is what we are learning from this pandemic.
As you say, the pandemic continues, and briefly, how are you prepared to continue containing this pandemic, especially with the recent spike, you could say, in numbers in the refugee camps where we had never registered such numbers?
This is the thing with this virus. You can't say that you've done everything until you get the next day and check the news statistics. You've seen the past 2 weeks we were having fewer cases, and we continue to do testing and actually surveillance and research until yesterday. We also discovered that actually the virus is not just gone, is still here. It can emerge, it can be found in any group, in any district. So we need to continue to be focused and do different types of innovations in the fight against COVID-19 and until we say we are over it. But we know the virus is here, it's around us. It's just a matter of finding where exactly, which cluster, and how we contain it quickly. And that is what defined the response. And the preparedness has been there before, but as we move on, it's more finding the virus and containing it before it spreads and affects lives of people.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Saben Sanzimana, for your time this evening. And congratulations once again.
Thank you. It's a shared award for everyone who is working to fight this pandemic.
Well, still in that regard, the latest figures from the Ministry of Health, Rwanda today recorded 13 new people that tested positive for the coronavirus among the 2,080 tests that were conducted today. 203 people also recovered in the last 24 hours, and the active cases are currently 319. Among the positive cases that were identified today, 1 is from Kigali, 6 from Chirehe, 5 from Karongi, and from clusters of new cases in refugee camps, and 1 in Nyagatare district. In other news, the National Commission for the Fight Against Genocide announced today that between 2019 and 2020, more than 800 bodies of genocide victims were found, an issue that members of the parliament find serious and detrimental to the process for the reconciliation of Rwandans, because many people still withhold information pertaining to the location of the bodies of the genocide victims. Innocent Mogabo has more.
A report on CNLG's 2019-2020 activities shows that up to 246 genocide and related ideology crimes were identified during the commemoration of the 26th anniversary of the genocide against the Tutsi and has already been submitted to the prosecution. The report also shows in the last fiscal year, 808 bodies of genocide victims were retrieved from different districts of the country. When CNLs presented the report to the parliament, both MPs and senators pointed out that the fact that 26 years later the bodies were still available, which they attributed to a gap in the provision of information voluntarily, and this sheds a picture that there has been no progress in dealing with the ideology of genocide, things they believe are obstacles to the journey of unity and reconciliation.
On page 32, there is where they indicate the bodies found this year, and you find that in 30 districts, 22 of them are among those where the bodies were found, over 800 bodies, of which are also found not because of voluntary information, but due to things like construction or farming activities.
We discovered that there is still a big challenge when it comes to a voluntary provision of information concerning the whereabouts of the bodies of genocide victims, whereby with those we managed to talk to, they seem to have accepted failure and requested for a hand through advocacy. I think though there are good programs set up by the government for those involved in the genocide, there is still a long journey to go. The National Commission for the Fight Against Genocide, CNLs, also acknowledges that the issue exists, only that its vice chairperson, Ms. Yvonne Mutakwasuku, confirms that the fight against crimes and acts related to the genocide is an ongoing struggle.
We are still fighting with that challenge where some people are still withholding information. In the other 808 bodies, we were helped by some of the reconciliation activities organized in prisons. This is a continuing struggle, so I can't say that we failed or reached our goals.
The envoys also expressed concern over the existing capacity to preserve the evidence and history of the genocide against the Tutsi, such as bodies, clothing, materials, and weapons used in the genocide against the Tutsi. Here the vice chairperson of CNLs, Madame Yvonne Mutakwasuku, pointed out that although CNL has not yet reached its desired destination, there is still work to be done in this regard.
We are trying all possible means to preserve the genocide history, whereby preservation medicines are sprayed on the bodies at different memorial sites, but we are still facing challenges of an insufficient budget in terms of funds and skills to preserve all the bodies in all the genocide memorial sites. Currently, we focused on those at the national level, especially that of Murambi, since we have a partnership with one university, of which if trials come out successful, we shall extend it to all the genocide memorial sites in the country.
The National Commission for the Fight Against Genocide, CNLs, generally states that its responsibilities require research experts from various fields, but also that the budget is insufficient and does not allow them to get the staff they need, from where it started asking the legislature to help with the advocacy to raise the budget they need. Innocent Mugabo, RTV News.
You're still watching Rwanda Television News. Agricultural experts have noted that those who sell fertilizers, pesticides and quality planting seeds have continued to support the development of the agricultural sector, and that the use of technology during transactions has helped fight the spread of COVID-19 while making their businesses far more efficient. Stationary has more.
Known as agro-dealers, the men and women who sell the fertilizers, pesticides and quality planting seeds say technology has enabled them to make pre-orders based on the size of farmers' plots registered in their system, avoiding the losses and wastefulness that existed before, when their stocks sometimes went unsold after long journeys and buying in bulk. With the help of Rwanda's Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, as well as the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, the dealers received training that has helped them to improve on the services they provide for local farmers, while minimizing the risk of spreading COVID-19 because they now supply the planting seeds, fertilizers and pesticides directly to farms, hence eliminating the need for farmers to gather at their shops.
Before our investments, a farmer would take 15 or more kilometers to find where to buy seeds and fertilizers. Now, after 5 years of investment, a Rwandan farmer on average is taking 3 to 4 kilometers to get input. Agro-dealer play a big role, especially in Rwanda, where our system of seed and input delivery is digitized. Currently using the SNS system, an agro-dealer is able to know which farmer needs seeds where, and instead of the farmer coming to the agro-dealer shop, the agro-dealer take the seed home. As it is maybe in a restaurant, you saw there's a day restaurant we're taking food to people's home. That has happened also in seed, where agro-dealer have the capability and the information where seed is needed and deliver them to farmers, which has played a big role in reducing the expansion of COVID.
Officials at the Rwanda Agriculture Board agree that technology is playing an important role in developing the agricultural sector as a whole, while mitigating the spread of the coronavirus and ensuring that supplies do not go to waste. I can say that it has helped a lot, especially when it comes to the money that the government was spending on following up on the supplies themselves. Now, even farmers who have received a single kilo can be identified. Because local farmers register themselves in the database, fertilizers going to rural areas can be tracked to their final recipient. Nothing leaves unless it has a person who requested for it and will use it accordingly. Figures from RAB indicate that the country currently has 1,300 agro-dealers.
Thank you for the privilege of your time. Continue to stay safe, and remember, no one is safe until we all are. Otherwise, have a good night. God bless you and keep you. Until next time, I'm Gloria Mutesi.